Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypno-coaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you want to know more about my professional work, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. Today, I want to talk about the art of not having an opinion, or at least the art of not expressing some of the opinions that you have. Now, an opinion is defined as a judgment you make about something that is not necessarily based on either facts or knowledge. It can be based on facts or knowledge, but it doesn't have to be, and therein is the problem. Do you have an opinion about something? You probably do. I find that I have an opinion about just about everything. I have an opinion about eating circadias. I have an opinion about whether you should salt the circadias you fry and eat versus dressing them with vinegar. I have these opinions even though I will never eat a circadia, nor do I know anyone who does. I have an opinion about wearing skinny jeans. I have an opinion about how traffic intersections should be laid out. I have more than one opinion about how the government should be run. The problem is that only some of these opinions are actually worth anything. The ones that are the opinions based on facts or on subject areas that I know a goodly amount about. I have, for example, an opinion about how some things should be cooked. As a serious foodie and former chef, that opinion is probably reasonably worthwhile in the sense that if you didn't know how to cook that thing already, you might appreciate hearing my opinion. I have opinions about hypnotism and the hypnotism community. As someone involved in the profession at the national level, that opinion is probably worth listening to, even if you decide you disagree. The problem we get into is when we don't distinguish between the opinions we have that are worth something and those that are not, because there is a huge difference between well-formed opinions and what is basically verbal trash. Now, I've kept a journal since I was 15 years old. It's a discipline I strongly recommend. One of the benefits of being a journal keeper is that you can look back at previous journal entries. When I did about expressing opinions, I realized that most of the times when I got myself into trouble, making myself the subject of criticism, ending up having committed some blunder, experiencing rejection or even punishment, was when I had expressed an opinion about something that I actually knew relatively little about, like eating circadias or wearing certain styles of jeans. I don't have to have an opinion about everything, or at least I don't need to express an opinion just because that subject matter is being discussed. For me, that was an important watershed revelation. I should confine myself to expressing opinions that are worth something and be quiet about my opinions that are not really worth all that much. Like I said, this was a huge revelation, and my interpersonal work became more effective and my relationships improved, even with friends and colleagues, when I realized that while I did have an opinion on most things, I really needed to consciously distinguish between the opinions I had that were worth something and those that were essentially worthless. I needed to be bold and assertive about expressing the former and shut the heck up about expressing the latter. While we can have an opinion about everything, and we can express those opinions if we want, there is almost no upside to doing that. That was the conclusion I reached from my journal reflection. I was recently attending a talk on a very technical area of Ericksonian hypnotism theory given by someone who is well known as an expert in that field. I don't necessarily agree with everything this expert has published, but this expert's undoubtedly an expert, and I benefit by hearing the expert's opinion. Well, there was a newbie in the group, so someone who was freshly certified, never even seen their first client, and this person spoke up and said, "Well, I don't agree with that," and began to chew up time at the meeting to express his personal, and I think fairly harebrained theory that everyone with experience knew wasn't correct. Now, he's entitled to his opinion, but I question the wisdom of choosing to express that opinion in that setting, because the result was we just dismissed him. There's a wonderful poem called Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. You probably have heard it at some point. I love it. I first encountered it as a boy on a phonograph record, a 33 1/3 record album, made as part of the Star Trek promotion, where the late actor Leonard Nimoy, in his character as Mr. Spock, recited this poem in a sonorous voice. I loved it. The first line of that poem is, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence." What peace there may be in silence. That's genuine wisdom. I'm a meditator, and some of you probably are too. Meditation involves letting thoughts flow without praise or blame. They just are. We don't critique them in meditation. In fact, it can be fun to observe your thoughts, and most experienced meditators will talk about being occasionally surprised as to where their thoughts went during the time of meditation. Well, that's what we should do with our opinions. We should enjoy the fact that we have them. We can even be somewhat bemused by some of the opinions that we realize that we have. But we should run our mouths only about those opinions that we have reason to believe are, in fact, well formed. We'd all be a lot happier if we do that, and I think we'd have a better civic life together as well. When I was training as a chef, one of my instructors, someone whose guiding principle was that a happy kitchen is a productive kitchen, and had zero tolerance for people that would introduce strife or anger into the kitchen environment. And his thing was, never put your mouth in gear while your brain is in neutral. And I think that's excellent advice. Never put your mouth in gear while your brain is in neutral. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject, and I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe. And of course, if I can be of help to you personally, feel free to reach out through email, my website, or my Patreon channel. Stay well and stay safe.